Welcome everyone, this is the Maths GCSE Foundation Tier, Eduqas Maths Foundation Tier from summer 2023. This is paper 1, it's a non-calculator paper. So what we have here is the first question. It says calculate each of the following. 7,000 divided by 10. So here's 7,000. When we divide by 10, we move the decimal place one place to the left. So the answer, 7,000 divided by 10 is 700. So 700 is our answer. 65 times 1,000. Well, when we times by 1,000, we're moving the decimal place 3 times to the right. So here's my decimal place. Normally, I'm going to add some zeros just to make it easy to see. We're going to move it 1, 2, 3 times to the right. So that would give us 65,000. 9 minus 14. So if you imagine a number line, we're counting backwards. So we're going left on that number line. We end up at negative 5. Negative 5. Complete this sum. Blank or something plus 121 equals 200. So if we do 200 minus 121, that will give us our answer. So 200 minus 121 is 79. So therefore 79 is our answer. 79 plus 121 equals 200. Question C, complete each statement with a number from the box. So something is a prime number. So one of these numbers is a prime number. A prime number, you can only divide it by 1 in itself. So which of these numbers can you only divide by 1 in itself? That would be 13. So 13 is a prime number. A multiple of 12. So think of the 12 times table. Which of these is part of the 12 times table? That would be 24. And one of them is a square number. Now, a square number. For example, 2 times 2 equals 4. 4 is a square number. So if we think about it and have a look at these numbers, we have 49. 7 times 7 equals 49. So 49 is a square number. Question D, write 0.4 as a fraction in its simplest form. 0.4 as a fraction. Well, if we have a look at our place value, we've got units. We've got a decimal place, and then we've got tenths. We've got tenths. So this would be 4 tenths. However, we need to simplify it. So what can we divide 4 and 10 by? We can divide by 2. If we divide by 2, 4 divided by 2 is 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 2/5 is the answer. Note that it's 2 marks, this one. So you get your first mark for 4 tenths, 2 marks for 2/5. Question 2 then, we're on to probability here. Circle the best expression for the chance that it will snow in the UK in July. Now, in the UK, we get snow, usually around Christmas time, winter. So it's not impossible because we do get snow in the UK. However, it is unlikely that it'll happen in July. So the snow in July is unlikely. A dish contains equal numbers of green grapes and black grapes. Pedro takes 1 grape at random from the dish. Circle the best expression for the chance that Pedro takes a green grape. So there's an equal number of green and black grapes, so that would be even chance. Even chance. 2B. 1 letter is chosen at random from the 9-letter word Australia. On the probability scale, mark with an arrow the probability that the letter chosen from the word Australia is a T. There's 9 letters. On this scale, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 little prongs. We've got 9 sections on this number line, and there's 9 letters. So how many letters in Australia are a T? Well, there's only 1. There's 1 T. So therefore, I'm going to put my arrow on the first section of the number line. Of the probability scale, sorry, not a number line, it's a probability scale. A, E, I, O, U are vowels. On the probability scale, mark with an arrow the probability. The letter is a vowel in Australia. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vowels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We put our arrow just there. Of course, on paper, it'll be a lot neater than this. However, on a computer, it is a bit tricky. Question 3. The diagram is drawn on a 1 centimetre square grid. It shows the location of some places in a town. Write down the coordinates of the shop. So the shop is here. Here's the shop, so we'll go along the corridor to -5, up the stairs to 3, coordinate -5, 3. There is a bus stop, B, halfway between the cafe and the pool. Mark the position of the bus stop on the diagram. So halfway between the cafe and the pool. There's our cafe, there's the pool. Halfway, so to get from the cafe to the pool, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right and 2 up. Halfway, half of 6 is 3, so let's go along 1, 2, 3 and up rather than up 2, we'll do half of 2, which is 1. So we'll go across 3, 1, 2, 3 and up 1. So there is halfway between the cafe and the pool. I'll mark it B just so that we can see that it's the bus stop. The scale of the diagram is 1 centimetre represents 50 metres. There is a straight path from the school to the pool. So the school to the pool. How long is the actual path? Give your answer in metres. So how far down do we have to go to get from the school to the pool? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if 1 centimetre equals 50 metres, we've got 8 centimetres because we go down 8. From the school to the pool, we go down 8. So that means we need to do 50 times 8. 50 times 8 is 400. So 400 metres. Just like that. 400 metres. Question 4. Joni is choosing what to wear. She chooses from the following options. Trousers black or grey, and top white or red, and trainers pink or yellow. Complete the table to show all of the different choices that Joni has. The first 2 have been completed. So we've got black, white and pink, black, white and yellow. Black, white, pink, black, white, yellow. We also have black. So let's stay with black trousers. They've already done all of the options with a white top. So let's do a red top. So red and pink trainers. Apologies for my handwriting. Black, red and yellow. And that's all the black trousers done. Then we've got grey. Grey, white and pink. Same top and trainers as when it was black trousers, but this time it's grey. So grey, white, and instead of pink trainers, we could have yellow trainers. Grey. We've done all the white, grey and white, so now it's grey and red. Grey, red and pink. And grey, red and yellow. And unless I've missed one, I think that's all of them. Black, white, pink, black, white, yellow, black, red, pink, black, red, yellow. Grey, white, pink, grey, white, yellow, grey, red. Yeah, that's all of them. Joni is equally likely to choose any of the possible options. What's the probability that she chooses grey trousers, a red top, and yellow trainers? So grey trousers. Here's our grey trousers. So we've got 4 of those. A red top. That out of all of the grey trousers, there's only 2 with red tops, and only 1 with yellow trainers. So that means it's 1. We can write as a fraction or a decimal. I would say a fraction is easier on this. So 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1/8. 1 out of 8 probability. 1 in 8 chance. 1/8 is the probability there. Joni jogs to the park. She leaves home at 9:43 and arrives at 10:18. How many minutes does it take Joni to jog to the park? So she sets off at 9:43. There we are, 9:43. If we add 7 minutes, that would take us to 9:50. Add another 10 minutes, takes us to 10 o'clock. And then if we add the final 18 minutes, we get to 10:18. So 7 plus 10 plus 18. Oh my goodness, what have I given myself here? 10 plus 7 plus 18. 35 minutes in it. So we're adding these together, 35 minutes. There we are, 35 minutes is... bear in mind this is non-calculator, so I've used the column method here. 7 plus 0 plus 8 is 15. Carry 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, so 35 minutes. Joni then walks 1.2 kilometres to her friend's house. This takes 15 minutes. What's her average walking speed? Give your answer in kilometres per hour. So this is speed distance time, SDT. SDT. And we have a triangle for this. We've got S, D, and T, speed distance time. So are we looking for speed, distance, or time? Well, we've got the distance, we've got the time. We're looking for the speed, kilometres per hour. So speed equals distance divided by time in kilometres per hour. So we need to actually convert the minutes to hours. So 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour. So the distance is 1.2 divided by 0.25. And that equals 4.8 kilometres per hour. So 4.8 kilometres per hour is our answer to that question. The next one, Joni travels home by taxi. She is charged £2 per kilometre. She pays a total of £10, which includes a £1 tip. How many kilometres is Joni's house from her friend's house? So £1 tip. So the first thing we need to do is take off the £1 tip, because that is not part of the journey cost. It's just extra that she pays. So 10 minus 1 is 9. And then we divide this by the amount per kilometre. So 9 divided by 2, 4.5 kilometres. So we take off the £1 tip and then divide by the cost per kilometre. 9 divided by 2, 4.5 kilometres. That's how far it is. Write down a decimal that is between 61% and 62%. So 61% and 62%. Let's have a look. So 61% is 0.61 and 62% is 0.62. So we are looking for any decimal in between that. So you could have 0.611, 612, 613, 614, 615, etc. I'm just going to go in the middle, 0.615. Lee takes 2 science tests. In the first test, she scores 18/25. In the second test, she scores 14/20. In which of these tests does Leah have the best result? So 18/25. Show how you decide as well. So you've got to show you're working out in this. You can't just tick a box. You'll get no marks if you just tick one box. So in which does she have the better result? So we've got 18/25 and 14/20. I'm going to convert these to equivalent fractions. 18/25 to 14 and 14/20. Best way of doing that is doing it out of 100. Convert them to a percentage. So over 100. How do we get from 25 to 100? We times by 4. So that means we've got to do 18 times 4. Let's write that a bit better so you can see it. So that means we've got to do 18 times 4. 18 times 4, 18, 36, 72. And we times by 5. 20 times 5 equals 100. That means we've got to do 14 times 5, which is 70 out of 100. So We've done the first test, the second test. In which does she have the better result? The first test. There we are, the first test. So we're on to question 6. A small tub contains n nails. A large tub contains 3 times as many nails as a small tub. Find an expression for the total number of nails in 2 small tubs and 1 large tub. So we know that 1 small tub has n nails. We've got 2 of those, so let's add another 1 of those on. N plus n. 1 large tub is 3 times as many nails as a small tub. So we're doing n times 3, or 3n. So n plus 3n. We can simplify this because the letter is the same. We've got a like term. So we can collect the like terms. N plus 3n. When there's no number there, we can see it as 1. So 1n plus 1n plus 3n. 1 plus 1 plus 3 is 5. So 5n. The other way of looking at this is saying 2 small tubs. Well, that's 2 times n. So you could have 2n plus 3n. Simplify that down to 5n. It's whichever you prefer. However, as long as you end up with 5n, that's all you need, 5n. So the total number of nails equals 5n. Question 6b. Each nail weighs 4.5 grams. How much do 200 nails weigh? Give your answer in kilograms. So 4.5 grams per nail. 4.5, and we need to multiply that by 200. So we could split this up into times 2 and then times 100. So 4.5 times 2 is 9. 9 times 100 is 900 grams. 900 grams. We need to convert this to kilograms because it says give your answer in kilograms. So there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. So 900 divided by 1,000 to give us 0.9 kilograms. You could put 900 if you wanted to, however 0.9 is the preferred option. So yeah, 0.9 kilograms is the answer there. Times the weight of a nail by 200 and then divide by 1,000. Question 7. On the 1 centimetre square grid below, draw a rectangle that has an area of 16 centimetres squared and a perimeter of 20 centimetres. Let's start off by looking at the area, 16 centimetres squared. What numbers can we multiply to make 16? Well, 1 times 16, 2 times 8, and 4 times 4. If we think of a rectangle, opposite sides are equal. So we'd have two sides 16 centimetres and 2 sides 1 centimetre. 16 plus 16 plus 1 plus 1 doesn't equal 20 to get the perimeter, so we can't have it 1 by 16. 4 times 4, 4, well, the perimeter would be the same, it'd be 16 centimetres, so we can't have 4 by 4 either. So we have to draw it 2 times 8. So I'm going to draw this as best as I possibly can on a computer, 2 centimetres across and 8 centimetres down. So let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 2 centimetres across. It doesn't matter if you draw the length, the base, 8 centimetres, or the height, 8 centimetres, as long as it's 8 centimetres by 2 centimetres. It doesn't matter. And that's what your rectangle should look like. You could draw it the other way around, so 8 across and 2 down, but it doesn't really matter. The radius of a circle is 8 centimetres right down the diameter of the circle. So the radius is half a diameter. So we need to do 8 times 2. Half the diameter. So to get the diameter, we double it. 8 times 2, 16. 16 centimetres is the diameter. Write down the ratio of the length of the radius to the length of the diameter in its simplest form. So the ratio is the radius to the diameter. The radius is 8. The diameter is 16. we need to simplify this. Now, you could divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2, or you could just divide by 8. If we divide both by 8, we end up with 1 to 2. 1 to 2. So our answer, 1 to 2, is what we get. I don't know why I've drawn that so far apart, but hopefully you can see that that's the ratio, 1 to 2. Calculate 7 times 5 squared. This is a cool question. We're going on to bid mass now. With these 2 questions, technically 3 questions into it. But 7 times 5 squared. So bid mass, we do the brackets, then the indices. The indices is this squared. So the first thing we need to do is 5 squared. 5 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So 7 times 25. 25, 50, 75, 100. 25, 50, 75. 175 is our answer. You could also do it, I would actually say, if you're not sure on the times tables here, use the column method. So 25, you could do it 25 times 7. 5 times 7 is 35. Carry the 3. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 3, 17. 175. So definitely use the column method if you need to. The next section says, put one pair of brackets in between each calculation to make it correct. So without brackets, we would do the multiplication first. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 take away 1 is 11. Plus 6 is 17. It doesn't work. If we put the brackets in somewhere, we will get an answer. So I want to put the brackets here. Let's see if this works. I know it doesn't, but let's see what we would. If we put the brackets here, we do the brackets first. So 7, 4 times 12 take away 7. No, that doesn't work. So we can't put them there. We have to put them in the middle here. So we do 3 minus 1 first to give us 2. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 6 is 14. And then down here, the square root of 36. So we had a square number up here. Now we've got to do the opposite of that. What number multiplied by itself equals 36? That would be 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 plus 1 is 4. So we need to put the brackets just here. So that we have 6 divided by 3 equals 2. Question 9. I'm just going to have a drink. Question 9. Walter, Anna and Maggie all work in the same factory. Walter works for 3 hours and earns £42. Calculate how much Walter is paid for each hour. So in total, he works 3 hours and gets £42. We need to divide. Let's use bus stop method. 42 divided by 3. There we are, 42 divided by 3. So first of all, how many 3's go into 4? That would be 1. We have a remainder of 1. And how many 3's go into 12? That is 4. So £14. £14. So 1 week, Anna works for 8 hours and earns £120. The next week, Anna works for 12 hours. How much does Anna earn for this week? So it's the same process as before, except we've got different numbers. So instead of 3 hours, it's 8 hours. Instead of £42, it's £120. So let's divide them. We've got £120 divided by 8. So how many 8's go into 1? That would be 0. Carry the 1. How many 8's go into 12? That is 1. Carry 4 with a remainder of 4. So we carry that across. How many 8's go into 40? That is 5. So £15 per hour. She works for 12 hours. So we need to do 15 times 12. 15 times 12 is £180. You could do 15 times 10 and 15 times 2. 15 times 10 is 150. 15 times 2, 130. Add them together, £180. So that's how much she earns for the week. Question C, 9C. Maggie earns £18 for each hour that she works. She's given a 2% pay rise, by how much does the amount she is paid for each hour increase. So she earns £18 for each hour that she works. So 2% to work out. So we need to work out 2%. 2% of 18. Best way of doing that is divide by 100 times by 2. So 18 divided by 100 equals 0.18. 0.18 times 2 equals 0.36. So it increases by 36p. So increase, apologies for my handwriting, increases by 36p. The table, question 10, sorry, the table shows some of the values of y equals 3x for -2 to 2. Complete the table. All we need to do here is substitute the value of x into the equation. So for example, when x is 1, 3 times 1 is 3, so y equals 3. When x equals 2, 3 times 2 is 6, so y equals 6. For 0, 3 times 0 is 0, so y equals 0. The next one is -1. 3 times -1 is -3, so therefore y is -3. And finally, -2. 3 times -2 is -6. And that's the table completed. On the grid, draw the graph of y equals 3x for these values. So all we need to do is plot these values into the graph below. So the first one we've got is -2, -6. So we're going to go along the corridor to -2, down the stairs to -6, and we'll plot our first point there. And then we've got -1, -3, so along the corridor to -1, down the stairs to -3, just there. And then 0, 0. Oh, there we go, 0, 0. It's a bit low down that. Oopsie daisy, let's just do that one again. It's a bit low down, it's not perfect. There we go. And then we've got 1, 3 and 2, 6. So along the corridor to 1, up the stairs to 3. And then finally along the corridor to 2 and up the stairs to 6. And then using a pencil and a ruler, I'm going to connect these up. However, again, no pencil, no ruler. So let's do this as best as possible. So we're going to go from here to here, through, just like that, but a lot straighter. But it should look something like that when you do it. So we go along, across 1, up 3, across 1, up 3, across 1, up 3, across 1, up 3. So yeah, that's the graph drawn. Question 11. The cost of the games console was £342 plus 20% VAT. What was the cost of the games console including VAT? So we need to work out 20% of 342 and add it on. So 20% of 342. Now with 20%, the easiest way of doing this is find 10% and double it. So we're going to divide by 10 and then times by 2. So 342 divided by 10 equals 34.2. 34.2 times 2. 34.2 times 2 equals 68.4. Sorry, 68.4. So £68.40 is 20%. £68.40. Then we just need to add it on. So I'll do it in this section here. We've got 342. We're going to add £68.40. £68.40. Just to make life easier, I'm going to add the decimal places in, just so that we can see what we're doing a bit clearer. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 4 is 4. 2 plus 8 is 10, so we write 0 and we carry 1. 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So we write 1 and we carry the 10. And then 3 plus 0 plus 1 is 4. £410, 40 is the total cost, including VAT. 11b, Edutech tablet computer. Deposit is a quarter of the price. Pay the balance in 6 equal monthly payments. Andy bought a tablet from Edutech and paid the deposit in 6 monthly equal payments of £57. How much was the deposit? He paid a deposit in 6 payments of £57. How much was the deposit? Well, the deposit is a quarter of the price. So first thing we do, 57 times 6. 57 times 6. We're actually going to use column method for that because that's quite difficult, isn't it? 57 times 6. 6 times 7 is 42. So we write 2, carry the 4. 6 times 5 is 30. 30 plus 4 is 34, so £342 in total. Well, that's how much the payments were, and that's 3 quarters. I should have written it over there, actually. In fact, I'm going to move it. I'm going to redo it and move it across. Apologies. So 57 times 6. 7 times 6 is 42. So we write 2, carry 4. 6 times 5 is 30. Plus 4 is 34. £342. There we are. £342. So, a quarter of the payment, a quarter of the price is the deposit. That means the rest is the monthly instalments. So that means that 3 quarters of the total amount is £342. Now we need to get to 1 quarter first. Now normally when you work out a fraction of an amount, you divide by the denominator times by the numerator, divide by the bottom times by the top. For this we actually need to do the opposite. So we need to divide by 3 first. So we need to actually divide by 3. 342 divided by 3. Let's not write it there actually because we'll go out of the boundaries. 342 divided by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. How many 3's go into 4? That is 1 with a remainder of 1. How many 3's go into 12? That is 4. 114. So 1 quarter of the total price is 114. Then we times by the denominator, times by 4. So normally, to work out 3 quarters of something, we would divide by 4 times by 3. In this case, we've got to do the opposite because we haven't got the full amount, you see. And that'll give us 4 quarters. That'll give us the total cost. Or in fact, we've actually done the question because it just wants the deposit. How much was the deposit? It was a quarter, which is £114. If we needed to work out the total cost, we would then times 4 to give us £456. However, we don't need that. We just need this £114 because that is the deposit, £114. Question 12. David is shopping in a supermarket. David sees this information label on the shelf. Flapjacks 250 grams. Our price, £1. £4 per 100 grams. He tells the supermarket manager that this information is wrong. Explain why David is correct. There are multiple reasons you could put in this question and get the mark. There's lots of different reasons why it's wrong. What I'm going to say is for £4, and again apologies on the handwriting, for £4 I want 1,000 grams. I want 1,000 grams for £4 because it's £1 for 250 grams. And 250 times £4 is 1,000 grams. So for £4 I want 1,000 grams. You could also say that for 100 grams it should be 40p. that the flapjack should be 25 grams for a pound. But for £4, I want 1,000 grams is also good. Lots of reasons. David decides to buy some ginger biscuits. Here are his options. We've got 50 biscuits for £1.50 or 30 biscuits for 96p. David wants to buy the packet which is better value for money. Which packet of biscuits should David buy? Show how you decide. Again, you're not allowed, you can't just put a tick and get a mark. You've got to show you're working out, and you need to show more than just saying because it's cheaper or because it's better value. We have to show why. So we're going to start with the 50 biscuits for £1.50. Rather than dividing by 50 and dividing by 30, I'm going to find the price of 10 biscuits because that's easy for us to do. So with 50 biscuits, 50, I'll just put B for biscuits. I'll put biscuits actually, 50 biscuits equals £1.50. So 10 biscuits. 10 biscuits. We need to divide by 5. So £1.50 divided by 5 is 30p. So 0.30, 30p. And then we've got 30 biscuits is 96p. I'll write that here, look. 30 biscuits is 96p, 0.96. So 10 biscuits need to divide by 3. In fact, I'll write that on just to show you. So we divide by 5. So we divide by 5. On here, for 30 biscuits, we divide by 3. You could divide by 30 if you want to. You could divide by 50 if you wanted to, but that's a bit tricky in your head without a calculator, I think. So let's do 96p divided by 3. That is 32p. 32p. So therefore, which is cheaper? The 50 biscuits is cheaper. So therefore, 50 biscuits is cheaper than 30 biscuits because per 10 biscuits, it's 30p for the 50 and 32p for the 30. So 50 biscuits is cheaper. And we've shown why as well. Calculate each of the following. 12.1 minus 1.36. So 12.1 minus 1.36. Let's use column method. Love a bit of column method. However, what I'm going to do, just to make it easier, I'm going to change this 12.1 to 2 decimal places. I'm going to add a 0 on the end. And we're minusing 1.36. Now, we can't do 0 take away 6, so we need to borrow from the 1. Changes to a 0. The 0 changes to a 10. 10 take away 6 is 4. We can't do 0 take away 3, so we need to borrow from the 2. The 2 changes to a 1, which changes this to a 10. 10 take away 3 is 7. We put our decimal place in. 1 take away 1 is 0, and this here is a 0 as well. 1 take away 1 is 0. 1 take away 0 is 1. 10.74. 0.6 times 0.4. There is a trick that we can do here. Let's ignore the 0 point and just do 6 times 4. What's 6 times 4? 6 times 4 is 24. It's 24. Let's just add the 0 point at the beginning of it. 0.24. That's a bit big, isn't it? That decimal place is a bit big. Let's just draw it a bit nicer. 0.24. There we are. So 0.6 times 0.4. Well, 6 times 4 is 24. Put the 0 point at the beginning. And there we are, 0.24. The last one is fractions. We've got 7/12 minus 1/6. Now, we need to convert the 6. We need the denominator to be the same. The easiest way of doing that is turning the 6 into 12ths. And we do that by timesing by 2. We times by 2. 6 times 2 is 12. Whatever we do to the bottom, we do to the top. 1 times 2 is 2. So 1/6 becomes 2/12. So 7/12 minus 2/12. twelfths. You could do 12 times 6. However, you'd have to simplify it. Makes it trickier. It's more work to do, innit? When we take away fractions, the denominator stays the same. So we stay in twelfths. 7 take away 2 is 5. So 5 twelfths is our answer. Okay, so 56 times 1.565 equals 87.64. Use this to complete the following statement. 560 times something equals 87,640. Now, of course, these numbers are very similar. 56 times 10, 87.64 times by 1,000. So, 2 marks. 56 times 10 equals 560. Now this is the bit that matters. 87, how many times do we have to times by 10 to get from 87.64 to 87,640? Well, if we write here 87.64, I'm going to add a 0. We're going to times 1, 2, 3 times. So we're going to times by 1,000. We've already times by 10 here. Now 1.565, we'll have to times by 100. So that we've times by 1,000 in total. So times by 100 moves the decimal place 1, 2 places. 156.5. That's our missing number, 156.5. Equals 87,640. 2 marks. So because we're timesing this number, 87.64, by 1,000 to get 87,640, in total we need to times by 1,000. This is times by 10, the other number times by 100 gives us 1,000, so that's where that comes from. Neil makes jewellery. Last year he sold all the necklaces he made for a total of £10,800. He made necklaces for 48 weeks and sold them all for £9 each. How many necklaces did Neil make each week? You may assume he made the same number each week. So each week, for 48 weeks, he's selling them all for £9. So, what do we have to do here? Well, last year he sold all the necklaces for £10,800. He made necklaces for 48 weeks and sold them for £9 each. So we could assume 48 times 9. Or 10,800 divided by 9. Let's do it that way. 10,000. It's a 4-mark question, so it's going to be a big one. Divided by 9. There we are. How many 9s go into 1? That's 0. Carry the 1 across. How many 9s go into 10? That is 1. Carry the 1 across again. How many 9s into 18? That's 2. And then 0, 0. So 1,200. So 10,800 divided by £9 each. That means in total, over all 48 weeks, he made 1,200 necklaces. In total. What we need to do now is divide by 48. So 1,200 divided by 48. This could get tricky. How many 48s into 1? That's 0. Carry 1. How many 48s go into 12? That is 0. Carry the 12. So 120 divided by 48 then. Well, you got 48. Double it is 96. We can't go any more than that, so it's 2. 96. 120 minus 96 is 24. So we're carrying 24 across. How many 48s into 2? Well, 48 times 10 is 480. Half it is 240, so that is 5. So 25 is our answer. 25 necklaces a week. And I'll write it there, 25 in total. Okay, question, what was it, 14, question 14b. Neil also makes rings. Last year, for 246 days, he made one ring a day. He sold them all for £54 each. How much more did Neil receive last year from selling rings than selling necklaces? So he made one a day for 246 days. So he made 246 rings in total. Sold them all for £54 each. So 246 multiplied by 54. This is going to be tricky, right? 4 times 6 is 24. Carry 2. I'm going to write that just here. Carry 2. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 2 is 18. Carry 1. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus 1 is 9. That's the 4 done there. Now it's 50. Not 5, but 50, which means we have to write a 0 here. 5 times 6 is 30, so we'll write 0. Carry 3. This is where it gets a bit awkward, but I'll write it up here just so that we can see the difference. 5 times 4 is 20. 20 plus 3 is 23. So we'll write a 3 there and carry the final 2 across. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. That means in total, 4 plus 0, we're going to add these by the way. 4 plus 0 is 4. 8 plus 0 is 8. 9 plus 3 is 12, carry the 10 across. 2 plus 1 is 3. And 0 plus 1 is 1, so 13,284. We look at the previous question, he made a total of £10,800. And here he's made a total of 13,284. So we need to take away 13,284 minus 10,800. 800. There we are. So 4 take away 0 is 4. 8 take away 0 is 8. We can't do 2 take away 8, so we have to borrow from the 3. 12 take away 8 is 4. 2 take away 0 is 2. And then 1 take away 1 is 0. So £2,484 more he received. Let's have a look at the next one then. Question 15. Marcy is carrying out a survey. She wants to find out how often the other people in her town use the local theatre. Marcy decides to survey only the 15 people at a meeting of her local drama group. Is this a reasonable plan? Yes or no? Give 2 reasons why. So let's have a look at this. She only surveyed 15 people. It's not a bigger number of people, and they're from a local drama group, which means they're more likely to go to the theatre, right? So therefore, I don't think this is a reasonable plan. And why? Because she only surveyed 15 people. And again, my handwriting on a computer is not the best. It's okay with numbers, but you know, she only surveyed 15 people anyway. And the second reason, because they're from her local drama group, they're more likely to go to the theatre. So I'm just going to put here her... Let's do that again. Her local drama group are more likely to go to the theatre. There we go. There we are. Her local drama group are more likely to go to the theatre. So that's why it's not a reasonable plan. But again, there's more than those two reasons. So anything else you can think of, you're more than welcome to put on the answer here. They're the two kind of main reasons though. Question 16. Viola. Viola, viola. Viola. Viola is arranging some paving slabs to make a path all around a rectangular pond. Some of the slabs are grey and some are white. There are no gaps between the slabs and no gaps between the... There are no gaps between the slabs and no gaps between the slabs and the edge of the pond. Okay. The diagram shows how she positions her first 3 slabs. The ratio of grey slabs to white slabs is 3:1. The pond is 2.5 metres by 3.5 metres. Each slab is a square with a side of 50 centimetres. A grey slab costs £5 and a white slab costs £6. How much does it cost Viola to make her path? This has a lot of words. I'm going to get the highlighter out here. So, Viola is arranging some slabs to make a path all around. Let's highlight all around. There are no gaps. Just generally, there's no gaps at all, as we can see. Ratio of grey to white is 3:1. 2.5 metres by 3.5 metres. Each slab is a square with a side 50 centimetres. So square 50 centimetres. Grey slab costs £5. So grey is 5, white is 6. How much does it cost to make our path? So the first thing we need to do is we can see that the pond is 2.5 metres by 3.5 metres. So I'm just going to write on here 2.5 metres by 3.5 metres. Each one of these squares is 50 centimetres by 50 centimetres. 50 centimetres, there we go. That means 3.5 metres, 50 centimetres. So 50 centimetres is 0.5 metres. That means that the height, width of the pond, we're going to have 7 slabs. So 7 slabs. And the length is 2.5, which means we're going to have 5 slabs. A grey slab is £5 and a white slab costs £6. We'll come to that in a second actually, because we've got the whole of the pond to do yet. So we've got 7 plus 5 plus 7 plus 5, and then we've got the 4 corners as well. So we're going to add 4 there as well. 7, 14, 14, 19, 24, 28. So there's 28 slabs in total. Now we're sharing in a ratio. So we've got grey slabs to white slabs. So G for grey, W for white is 3:1. We need to share 28 in the ratio 3:1. To do that, we add the ratios together to give us 4. And then 28 divided by 4. 28 divided by 4, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 is 7. So that means 1 is 7. 7 times 3 is 21. So there's 21 grey slabs and 7 white slabs. Grey slab costs £5. So 21 times 5. And there's 7 white slabs, which cost £6. So 7 times 6. 21 times 5 is 105. 7 times 6 is 42. Add them together and we get £147. So recap. Let's recap this, because there's a lot going on here, right? There's a lot of words, a lot of steps. It's 6 marks. Let's take it one step at a time. So we can see that each slab is a square, 50 centimetres. So we need to work out how many we need in total for the length and the height. That's the first mark. Second mark is add them up, basically. We add them up to get 28 slabs. That's our second mark. The reason we're adding 4 at the end is because we've got these corner ones, and we need to include those, and there's 4 corners in the rectangle, in the pond. Third mark is this bit, getting the 7. So this is the third mark. Fourth mark is down here. Fifth mark is multiplying, and your final mark is your answer, the adding up in the answer. So yeah, 50 centimetres, 0.5 metres, there's 3.5. So we're doing 3.5 divided by 0.5, 2.5 divided by 0.5, 7 and 5. Same as timesing by 2, 7 and 5. And then we add them up to get the perimeter. Sharing the ratio, add up at the end. I hope that's made sense. If it's not, you can access the mark scheme online, and it goes through it in a bit more. If not as well, leave a comment. Leave a comment and I'll explain it in a little bit more detail in the comments if needed. Question 17 then. The bearing of Q from P is 140 degrees. Find the bearing of P from Q. So the bearing of Q from P. So we're going from P to Q. From P to Q, and we're going 140 degrees. Find the bearing of P from Q. So we're going the other way, I believe. We need to do 140 degrees, and then we're adding another 180 because a straight line, angles add up to 180 on a straight line. So we're just adding them, 140 plus 180 to give us 320 degrees. Other way of working it out is saying, well, 180 degrees is a straight line. Take away 140, leaves 40 degrees. So around a point, you've got 360 minus 40. Gives us 320. Either way, whichever way you want to do is correct, and that is the answer there. The lengths of 3 sides of a triangle are in the ratio 3 to 5 to 7. What fraction of the perimeter is the longest side of the triangle? So the longest side is this side here, the 7. So as a fraction, we're going to write 7 somethingths. Our numerator will be 7 because that's the biggest out of 3, 5 and 7. To get the denominator, we add the ratios together. So 3 plus 5 plus 7. 3 plus 5 plus 7 is 15. So 7/15 is the answer to that one. The perimeter of the triangle is this triangle is 60 centimetres. Find the length of the 3 sides. So we have the ratio 3 to 5 to 7. 3 to 5 to 7. And we're sharing in a ratio again. So there's 15 in total because we've already added them up. So if we add them up, 3 plus 5 plus 7, we get 15. And it's 60 centimetres total. So there's 15 parts, 60 centimetres. 60 divided by 15 equals 4. So 1 part is 4 centimetres. Write cm in there. 1 part is 4 centimetres. So all we need to do is times all of these by 4. 4 times 4 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times 4 is 20. And 7 times 4 is 28. Yeah, 7, 14, 28. So 12 centimetres, 20 centimetres, and 28 centimetres. So again, it's just sharing in a ratio, like what we did in an earlier question, in that other question, this big 6 mark one. Sharing in a ratio. We know there's 15 parts. Divide the perimeter by the number of parts, and then multiply that by each of the parts. So 3 times 4, 5 times 4, 7 times 4. The nth term of a sequence is given by 2n plus 9. Work out the difference between consecutive terms. Ah, this one's cool. So 2n plus 9. 2n plus 9. n on its, this is a sequence of numbers, so n on its own is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2n is the 2 times table. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then add 9. 2 plus 9 is 11. 4 plus 9 is 13. And then 15. And then 17. And then 19. So the difference between consecutive terms is 2. In fact, I'll just write here difference of 2. Difference. Just so it's clear, difference equals 2. Solve 2n plus 9 is less than 99. 2n plus 9 is less than 99. This is just like solving an equation, but instead of an equals, you've got a less than sign. So 2n plus 9 is less than 99. So when we solve an equation, we work backwards. First thing we do is we take away 9. So take away 9. That would leave us with 2n is less than 90. And then that's a takeaway, that is. And then we divide by 2. So just because it's n and it's nth term, it doesn't matter. We just work it out the same way as if it was a solving, as if it was an equals, a solving equation. So we divide by 2 to give us n is less than, what's n less than? 90 divided by 2, 45. So n is less than 45. Solved. That's the best we can do on that one. Write down the number of terms less than 99. Well, if the nth term is less than 45, it's going to be one less than 45, which is 44 terms in the sequence, less than 99. It's going to be 44 terms in total. Question 20 then. James has been on holiday to the USA and is flying home to the UK. The price of a gift in a shop at the airport is $65. The price of the same gift online is €60, including delivery. On the day of his flight, the exchange rates were as follows. 80 pence equals $1, and £1 equals €1 cheaper, €1.20. Is it cheaper to buy the gift at the airport or online? Show how you decide. So again, can't just tick. You got to show you're working out, basically. So we know that online, and I'm just going to write here online, just so we don't forget, online, that's meant to be an I, equals €60. All we need to do for this question is convert the $65 into euros. We know that there's 80 pence in €1, in $1. So 80 pence in $1. So 65 times 0.8 first is the first step. 65 times 0.8, and that equals £52. £52. And then from the £52, we times by 1.2 to turn it into euros. 52 times 1.2 gives us euros 62.40. 62 euros 40 cents, and that is from the gift shop. Yeah, gift shop. I'll just write shop actually. So in the shop, 62.40. Online is €60. That means it's cheaper online. Okay, and again, there's other ways you can do this, but this is the easiest way of doing it. The marks come because it's actually rather tricky to get the answers. So the first mark is for indicating this, so that's number 1. That's mark 2, mark 3, and then mark 4 is for 62.40 and the tick. So the fourth mark is for €62.40 and a tick in the online box. If you tick the airport box, then you'll miss out on that mark. You'll only get maximum 3 marks. That's how we do that one. Question 21, we have algebra. Yes, love algebra. The diagram shows a quadrilateral. Use algebra to find the size of exterior angle y. We have a quadrilateral. Angles in a quadrilateral add up to 360 degrees. So interior angles equals 360 degrees. Let's just add these up. So we've got, now normally you just add them up. If they add, make sure they add up to 360 basically. However, this time we've got algebra. That means that we add them up the same way, it's just we'll have letters instead of all numbers basically. So we've got 60. We've got 85 as well. So that's fine. We then have x plus 75. So let's write x plus 75. And then we've got x plus 70 plus x plus 70. So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to find out the value of x so that we can substitute it into this equation. Angles inside, interior angles are 360. So this all equals 360 degrees. Excuse me. So let's simplify this. Let's collect the like terms first, because that's tricky as it is. So we've got 60 plus 85 plus 75 plus 70. We've got numbers, numbers, and even more numbers. Column method it, the easiest way in it. 60, 85, 75, and 70. 0 plus 5 plus 5 plus 0 is 10. Carry 1. 6 plus 8 plus 7 plus 7 plus 1 is 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, 15 plus 6 is 21, so 29, 290, 290. So 290, we've got x and x, so we've got two lots of x, 2x, so 2x plus 290 equals 360. Now we've got an equation we can solve to find x. So let's start off by taking away 290. If we do that on both sides, we cancel out the plus 290 here, so we're left with 2x. 360 minus 290 is 70. And then divide by 2. Are we going to run out of room? Kinda. Oh well. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. That gives us x equals 35. So we've got 35 degrees for x. Now we go back to our little diagram. We know that x is 35 degrees, so 35 plus 70. Don't forget you can draw on the diagram. 35 plus 70 is 105 degrees. Angles on a straight line equal 180 degrees in total. So all we need to do to find the missing angle is 180. We'll have to come down here, look. 180 minus 105. And what that equals is 75 degrees. So therefore, angle Y is 75 degrees. So add them up as you normally would to find how much they add up to. Hopefully, well, we know that it's 360, so add, as you normally would do for a missing angle. However, instead of all numbers, we've got some letters as well. So we would just do that like this, and then simplify it, and then solve it, substitute in. We know that angles on a straight line add up to 180, so we take away to get 75 degrees. Question 22, use the diagram to solve the simultaneous equation. This one is actually a lot easier than it looks. You see simultaneous equation and you think, oh my goodness me, what is going on here? It's where the two lines cross. The x and the y is where the two lines cross. So I'm going to zoom this in just so that it's easier for us to see. So where the two lines cross is here. It does say to give your answer correct to 1 decimal place, so we shall do that. If we go along the corridor, it's not quite we can round up, so it's if we round it, we'll have 0.8. Yeah, 0.8. It's just here, 0.8. If we look at the y-axis, it looks like it's going to round down to here, so that would be negative 1, 2.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So 0.8, 1.4. 0.8 for x, 1.4 for y. And just to mark it, just to show that that is the coordinate I'm going to put a little. Will it let? Is it drawing? Oh well. Oh no, it's done it there. Look, my computer's decided to break. No, it hasn't really. It's just there. Look. So that's the coordinate we're using. Oops. Oh, yeah, it has broken now. Look. It does that sometimes. Don't ask why. Not sure. So 0.8, 1.4 is the answer there. So for this question, you can put either 0.7 or 0.8 for x, and either 1.4 or 1.5 for y. Just depends how you round it. But it is just the coordinate where the two lines cross each other. So yeah, 0.8, 1.4, or 0.7, 1.5, or however you've rounded it. As long as it's to 1 decimal place, one of those numbers, it's fine. Next question then, question B. The diagram shows the curve y equals x squared plus 2x minus 8. Write down the y-intercept of the curve. So the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. Here's our y-axis, and it crosses at this point here, -8. -8 there. Find the coordinates of the turning point of the curve. That is the point where the curve starts to go in the opposite direction, so just about there. So the coordinates of, in fact, it's just a little bit further. Just a little bit further across. About there. Yeah, about there, give or take. So x-axis is -1. The y-axis is just below -8, so -9. -1, -9. The turning point is where the line starts to turn, where it's like the peak of the curve. Use the diagram to solve x squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. So if we have a look at our graph, we've got x equals something or x equals something else. X squared plus 2x minus 8 equals 0. 0 on the y-axis is here. So we've got two coordinates. We've got this one and we've got this one. So it's where the line crosses the y-axis, the x-axis. Crosses the x-axis. Yeah, it's where it crosses the x-axis. So that's why there's two points for x. -4 and 2. So x equals -4 or x equals 2. There we are. So -4 or 2. Question 23. The surface area of the Earth is 5.01 times 10 to the power 8 kilometers squared. The Earth's oceans are 70.9% of this surface area. Estimate the surface area of the Earth's oceans. Give your answer in standard form. So we're not going to convert this to whole numbers. We're not even going to do 5.101 times 10 to the power of 8. We're going to estimate it. That means we're going to have to round it. So 5.101, if we round that to the nearest whole number, we get 5. So 5 times 10 to the power of 8. 70.9% we can round. We can either round to the nearest whole number or we can round to the nearest 10. I think the easiest way to do this is round to the nearest 10. So actually round it down to 70%. So 70%. 70% we need to convert to a decimal though, because we need to multiply it all together. So 70% is 0.7. That means we end up with 0.7 times 5 times 10 to the power of 8. 0.7 times 5. Well, 0.7 times 10. We can times 10 divide by 2 if we want to. So if we do that, 0.7 times 10 is 7. Divide by 2, 3.5. 3.5 times 10 to the power of 8. We don't have to do any more than that because it says give your answer in standard form. So 3.5 times 10 to the power of 8. Question 24 then. Penultimate question, there's only 2 more now. The diagram shows a fair spinner. Eve spins it twice. What's the probability the spinner lands on red both times? Okay, so spin the wheel, lands on red, spin it again, lands on red again. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 numbers. 2 of them are red. So that means the probability of landing on red the first time is 2/8. We spin it again, lands on red again. That's a probability of 2/8 again. All we need to do here is multiply the probabilities together. So when we multiply fractions, we just multiply the numerators together and the denominators together. So 2 times 2 is 4. 8 times 8 is 64. We could simplify if we want to. 4 64ths is enough, but we can simplify if we want to. So let's just simplify it for argument's sake. We can divide by 2 to give us 2 32ths. Oh, that's a 2, not a 3. So I'm thinking of 32ths. 2 32ths. 30 seconds. Divide by 2 again gives us 1/16. So 2/8 times 2/8. You can leave it at 4/64, or you can simplify it down to 1/16. It's completely up to you. Final question then. Question 25. The table shows some information about the cost per person to take a boat across a river. We've got adults in pounds, which is A, and children in pounds, which is C. So adults is A, children is C. The Jones family, 4 adults and 1 child, pay £9.50 to take the boat. The Patel family of 5 adults and 2 children pay £13 to take the boat. The Lee family has 3 adults and 2 children. How much does the Lee family pay to take the boat? You must use an algebraic method to show all your working. So we're using algebra to work this out. So 4 adults, that's 4A. And 1 child, so that's plus C, equals £9.50. And 5 adults, 5A for adults, plus 2 children, that's 2C, equals 13. We have a simultaneous equation that we need to solve. So how do we solve it? Well, the first thing we need to do to solve this is now we need the C's to be the same number. Now we could times by 2, but that will make it awkward later on. So actually what we're going to do is going to do 4A plus C equals 9.5. We're going to multiply that by 4. We're going to multiply 5A plus 2C equals 13 by 2. So that we're left with 4C in both of the equations. So 4A times 4 is 16. 16A. C times 4 is 4C. 9.5 times 4 is, 9.5 times 2, 19. 19 times 2 again is 38. And then we're going to multiply the other one by 2. So 5A times 2 is 10A. And 2C times 2 is 4C. Now we've got 4C in both, so we can cancel them out. And 13 times 2 is 26. So now what we need to do is take away. So we're going to take away these. 16A minus 10A is 6A. 4C plus 4C is 4A minus, 4C minus 4C is just nothing, so it stays at 6A. 36 minus 26, 38 minus 26 is 12. Now we've got an equation we can solve. So if we divide by 6, A equals 2. So we divide by 6. on both sides so that a equals 2. Now we've got that sorted out, we can substitute it back into the equation. We can substitute back in. The easiest one to do is this one here, 10a plus 4c equals 26. Let's substitute the value of a into this equation. I have to scroll down a little bit. There we are, about there. So let's substitute in. We've got 10a. Now we know that a equals 2. So 10 times 2 plus 4c equals 26. 10 times 2 is 20. So 20 plus 4c equals 26. Let's take away 20. Let's take away 20. 4c equals 6. And then we divide by 4 to give us c equals 1.5. We've now got the values of a and c. Now the Lee family has 3 adults. Where am I going to write this? I'm actually going to change colour just to show you. Change it to a green. So the Lee family has 3 adults. So 3, whereabouts? Just here. Look, 3 adults. So 3 a and 2 children. So plus 2 children. Adults are £2. So 3 times 2 plus 2 children. Children are 1.5. So 2 times 1.5. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 1.5 is 3. 6 plus 3 equals 9. The Lee family pay £9. So simultaneous equation times it so that we end up with 4c on both of them. Then we can take away, find a, solve it to find a, substitute back in to find c, and then use the values of a and c to find the Lee family, the amount that they pay in total. Well, I hope that has been beneficial to you all. You do have on this paper some additional space if you need it. I mean, I probably would have used it for this question, and maybe a couple of others, but that's there. At the top, at the front page, you have got this formula list if you need it. We didn't today, but you might do in your real exam in summer. But you do get that, so make sure you use it if you need it. Especially, I mean, you've got a surface area of a sphere, curved surface area of a cone, volume of a sphere, volume of a cone, and then velocity and stuff there as well. The front page, don't touch this because that's where they write down the marks. It's 120 marks in total. It's a 2 hours and 15-minute exam. You only do 2 of them though. Better than AQA and EdXL, they do 3. But yeah, that's everything. If you need any more help with anything, leave a comment and I'll get back to you. I'm so sorry as well that it's taken this long to get this kind of paper out. It's been so busy recently, you know, but good luck everyone for your exams, and I will catch you very soon with another past paper.